of Reno County Board of Zoning Appeals to order. Staff, call the roll.
Martin. Here. Seltzer. Macklin.
Here.
Buchanan.
Here.
Jorns.
Yes, sirree.
French.
Here.
And Gertson.
Here. Welcome to the board. Thank you for joining on this virtual meeting. This is what, the second or third, Mark? You'll have to correct me if I won't on my math, but I lose track. I'm on so many virtual meetings now. I don't know how many this one has been, but we appreciate everyone joining us on this virtual meeting. We have meeting minutes from our previous meeting in front of us, or that we got in our packet. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of the submitted.
I'll second that motion.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Since no discussion, all in favor of approving the meeting minutes from our January 21 meeting, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. For the record, the minutes from meeting January 21 have been approved. To protect the rights of all parties involved and in order to establish an orderly fact-finding procedure, the Reno County Board of Zoning Appeals follows a specific fact-finding procedure, which is contained, if you are joining us in-house in the handouts that we provide. Your attention to this procedure is appreciated. All decisions by this BZA are final. The decisions may be appealed in district court within 30 days of the decision. We would like to formally open the hearing regarding case number 2021-01, a request by Andrew Beachy for a special exception from Reno County zoning regulations to construct a 50 by 72 by 16 residential accessory building and permit a total of 6,188 square feet of accessory buildings. The total square footage of all accessory buildings exceeds the 2,000 square feet maximum permitted on land zone R1 rural residential district. The property is located at 3108 West 17th Avenue. Have any board members had any outside contacts regarding this case?
No.
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 Okay, do any of the board members have conflict of interest in this case?
No.
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 Would the applicant or agent please step forward and state your name and address for the record, and you have 10 minutes to present your case. During this time, board members may request clarification at the end of your presentation.
Go ahead, Andrew, and you need to unmute yourself.
Andrew Beachy, 3108 West 17th Avenue, Hutchinson, Kansas.
Okay, would you like to tell us about your project that you're bringing before us?
Just want to have something in to park my truck in, like have something enclosed area to work on, and maybe have a kind of like a little man cave in there or something like that, just like something to warm to work on my truck in. I don't have any enclosed buildings out there on there right now, so just need some more space to park stuff in.
Okay. Does the board have any questions for the applicant?
I'm curious about
Water.
what is the exterior surface going to be on the building?
No, what was that?
What is the exterior surface on the building? Is it metal
Exterior
or
surface, metal
wood?
siding.
Yeah, metal siding. Ag panel.
Will there be any plumbing involved, any water utilities? I assume you're putting electricity in the facility, but are you running any plumbing in, or you kind of have a wash bay or anything like that that needs underground water plumbing?
Yes, for a bathroom, plumbing and electric for the bathroom in there, and electric lights in there.
Okay, so there'll be a new septic system then on that, with that
Yes, probably.
installation? Okay, and you're dealing with county health and with Darcy on that?
I haven't done that yet.
Okay, if you're gonna have wastewater, that needs to be treated somehow.
Okay. I have lateral lines out there, so it's like I was gonna plumb it out in there.
Okay,
Mr. Jarnes, if it's approved, then the zoning permit will go to the health department, and then they will review and determine if there is a need, for a permit for, expansion of that wastewater system. And so they'll be in touch with Mr. Beachy on that.
a little
Okay.
little wastewater, gray water doesn't bother me too much, but septic water is a different issue that needs to be dealt with.
Okay.
Thank you.
In the information that we were provided, I guess there's we need to clarify the exact location of this building. Can you, there seems to be some discrepancy on where it's going to be set, on your property, whether it's 186 feet north and or 42 feet west from the property lines. Can you confirm what the location is going to be of that building on your property?
186 feet north of what?
It says it would be approximately 186 feet north of 17th Avenue, and then approximately 142 feet west of from the west property line. Is that accurate?
It's
You measured that, didn't you?
yeah, we measured that. I think it's about 100 foot north of the house where its house sitting at.
Okay, so.
But I don't know. I'm not.
186 foot directly north of the road. That sounds right.
Okay,
Yeah, that sounds about right.
fair enough. Just wanted to verify the location.
That
Make
would
sure
be
we
different than-
we were within the setbacks, and it sounds like you're going to be.
That would be different than the dimensions on Mr. Beachy's map. He was so kind to draw for us. That
Yes.
a little different
Yes.
numbers in. Thank you.
Indicated there was no other shed on the property, but you've got a 2,588 square foot one. What is the status of that?
It open on both ends. It's galvanized metal on there, and it's kind of run down. It's not like there's a bunch of metal missing on the roof and sidewalls. So, and open on doorways on both ends are open, like there's no door on there.
So you don't want your man cave there when it's 15 below?
Yeah, ideal.
Gotcha. Any other questions for the applicant from the board? If not, we'll hear the staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mark Von Atchen, County Planner. This is about a 6.2 acre parcel of land. It's located actually west of the city of Hutchinson. If you look on your aerial, you can barely see K96 on the far side of the map. And so this property is out west of town there to kind of help orient you where we're at here. As you have read in the staff report, this is a request for a 50 by 72 foot building. It's over our 2,000 square foot limit, and especially when you add in the other building that is located on the property. Talk a little bit about the site plan. You know, when I was doing my review of this case, using some air photo interpretations here and measurements here, I was not coming up with the location that Mr. Beachy was showing on his site plan. The site plan, as you see, shows 48 feet northeast of the house. And then when you put a line out to there, that's where the shed's gonna be located. You draw a line straight down to 17th Avenue. That's where I was coming up with 186 feet. So I had questions on where it was located, but I think the board should just understand that if it's in that area, it's going to more than meet our setback requirements. You know, we have very minimal setback requirements here, 30 foot from the road right of way, 10 foot on the sides, and 20 foot on the back. And so why we like to have an accurate site plan, you know, if the measurements are off a little bit, it should not be, you know, an impairment to where he wants to put that building. I think the general location is in that area. And I've also indicated that in the aerial that I have provided you with that green dot. And so no other single family dwelling really should be impacted by this building. It's set back pretty far off of the road right away. As you heard, there was another 2,500 roughly square foot building that is on the property, and I appreciate Mr. Beachy's explanation of the status of that building. I wasn't quite sure. You couldn't see it from the road or aerial photo what the status of that is, what it looked like. So that's why he's over the square footage requirement in the residential zoning district, and he's applying for this special exception. This petition is similar to the one we had last month, where there is potential to have a home occupation in that building. As I stated in my staff report, Mr. Beachy owns a construction company, and I really talked at length with him about what was going to be used and stored in that building. And just like last month, home occupations are permitted to be in a residential zoning district so long as they meet the criteria that I have listed in my staff report. And along with the discussions I have with Mr. Beachy, I'm convinced that, yeah, at this point in time, it is a home occupation that he could have in that building. He just needs to understand the limitations that are associated with the home occupation. We did discuss briefly, you know, possibly him applying for a conditional use permit to, you know, run his construction company. I explained to him that there's no issue with him having his home office in the house and running his business from the office. However, you know, if you're getting building supply materials delivered, if you've got work trucks that are stored out there or other heavy industrial machinery, that's something that would probably tip the scales in favor of needing to apply for a conditional use permit. He assured me that he's not doing that in that building. And so at this point in time, I'm convinced that what he's going to be doing is going to be a home occupation type of business out of the house and or out of that building. The main use of that building has to be for residential purposes. And so that's what he is limited to doing. We discussed, in fact, what he could do with that conditional use permit versus what the home occupation allowed. So I'm I feel confident that he understands the difference. Several other residential parcels of less than 1 acre are located to the south and east of this parcel, as you see on the aerial photo here that I provided you. It's mainly a residential subdivision area, although it's not platted, but you do have larger tracts of land as you get further west of the intersection of Wilshire and 17th Avenue. I don't believe these other residences will be impacted by the size of this building. And in fact, the nearest single family dwelling is about 450 feet to the southeast of this building. So based off of where the building is located, the size of the parcel, and other factors that I stated in my staff report, staff has recommended approval of this request. And I've attached our standard 3 conditions of approval that I typically do in these cases. So with that, board, if you had any questions from me, I'd be happy to answer them.
Objections from any of the neighbors?
No objections from any neighbors, nothing verbal, nothing written. Every comment you have is included in the staff report. The only comments I received was from the health department.
Thank you.
Any other questions for staff?
A question for Mark, but maybe better answered by Mr. Beatty. And that is, this is an awful large building for storing a truck and having a bathroom. Help me understand why. It leads me to believe that other needs or other uses for the building in the future.
We
That'd be
also,
something. Yeah. Go ahead, Mr. Beachy.
we also have put our boat in there, and we have some ATVs that we want to store in there, and then we also want to put a loft on top of our like kind of a man cave there, just for like the second relax lounge area or something on top of the man cave sectioned off.
So have you provided a layout for the inside of the building to Mark? Or do you know exactly what that is at this time?
I think I did. I think I sent an email to him. I'm not sure.
What was that inside area that was going to be roomed off? How big was the inside area they were going to have?
Oh, how big?
Yeah. The room on the inside. How big was that?
What did I figure? 12 by 20 or something like that.
No, I think it was more like 12 by like 30 or 40 or something like that. What do you think?
There's something 12 by 30 or something like that. I ain't quite sure what my measurements were for sure. I don't have them with me right now.
Okay, so my interpretation, you said you have a lot of other stuff you want to store inside the truck, such as boat and RTVs and 4-wheelers and things of that sort, and that kind of satisfies my concern. Thank you.
Yep.
I don't have an interior layout of the building. That's not something we typically require, but for the fact that the only type of structure you can have on the property is residential in nature. And so, there should be no, obviously, commercial operations. The typical man cave that's been mentioned is something that, would be permitted by right. Or a guest house is something that we would also, permit, just as long as it's not, rented out, no separate utilities, no separate address, that type of thing. And so it's certainly within the board's discretion to require an interior, layout, but it's not something that staff typically requests, of an applicant.
Mr. Chairman, are you ready for a motion?
Well, we got a little bit more to go here.
Okay.
Is there anyone attending this virtual meeting that would like to comment?
There's nobody here at Public Works that wishes to speak on this. Again, same format as before. It was advertised in the newspaper as being held here, and if there was somebody from the public wanting to speak on this, then we would invite them into one of our offices to speak. And at this point in time, there's nobody here to speak on this case.
Okay. Mr. Beachy, do you have anything you want to add to this?
No, I think that's all I need. I got
Okay.
now.
Thank you very much. Staff, is there anything you'd like to add?
I have no further comment, Mr. Chairman.
Board, do you have any other questions? If not, the public hearing is now closed. Board, do you have any discussion? If there's no discussion, Chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that case number 2021-01, request by Andrew Beachy, requesting a special exception from the Reno County zoning regulations to permit the total square footage of all accessory structures on the parcel to exceed 2,000 square feet limit in the R1 Rural Residential District at the location shown with the application and subject to the conditions listed above, based upon the reasons stated in the staff report, and as heard at this public hearing, be approved.
I second that motion.
Been moved and seconded. Staff, will you call the roll?
Barton,
Yes.
Macklin,
Yes.
Buchanan,
Yes.
Jorns,
Yes.
French,
yes,
and Gertson.
Yes.
Motion approved, 6-0. So the next step would be to make application for the actual zoning permit for the building, Mr. Beachy, and you can do that at any time.
Okay. So do I need to come into you, Mark, or?
You can come into me, or you can, I think you actually submitted the application already, so you can just send me the check for $50. If you
Okay.
want to come into me or mail it.
All right. That'll work.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Staff, do you have any other business before this Board of Zoning Appeals?
Mr. Chair, I had a request to discuss where we were at with the proposed wind regulation updates. And so if you would like, I could give the board, a brief update as to where we're at in that process, if you'd like.
That'd be fine. If this is appropriate for this, I didn't know if we wanted to close this Board of Zoning Appeals and then you give us something, or if you needed it inside of a meeting.
I think it's okay as a Board of
Okay.
Zoning Appeals, even though it was a planning commission decision or so.
Cool.
I just have a few basic statements that I was asked to give an update on, so I think it's okay in this
All right.
case. Since
Thank
no
you.
decision or anything like that's going to be made. So where we're at, on January 19th, we held a study session with the commissioners where staff explained the regulations recommended for approval by the planning commission. And then on February 9th, we placed that on the agenda for the commissioners to consider. At that time, a study session was held again where changes to the draft document were considered. And I'd like to point out to the board really that no decisions have been made. A lot of suggestions have been put forth right now, but no decisions, nothing definite has been made. Right now, under consideration, the biggest one would be like the setback from a principal building. And right now they're suggesting that that be 3,000 feet from a principal building or 6 times the height of the tower. Still up for discussion also. They're looking at having 45 decibels of sound during the day and 40 decibels at night. And then they're looking at having 20 hours of flicker or 20 minutes per day. And so those are the three big topics I think right now that they are discussing right now. Another one that they did is they actually moved the transfer of ownership section to under the developers agreement. If you recall, that was on the last page. If the facility would switch hands, switch companies, that was on the back page, like I said, and they want to move that under the developers agreement because they might want some additional information from that new developer should it switch hands. And so they want to have control over that under the developers agreement. And then on February 23rd, next Tuesday, the commissioners are going to permit public comment for 1 hour. There's going to be 30 minutes of comment, which people are in favor of the proposed amendments. And then there's going to be another 30 minutes for people that are against the amendments. And that would be the document that was suggested and recommended by the Planning Commission. So then after that public comment, the commissioners, they may make a decision or they may decide to have another study session. You know, at this point, staff really doesn't know. But what I would say is that the commissioners were very appreciative and very thankful for the work that the Planning Commission did with the regulations, with the process that you guys undertook, and the discussions that you had, and providing them a good document in keeping with their original guidelines set forth in December of 2019. So, you know, at that point, that's all I really have as far as, you know, as an update for the board. So we'll kind of leave it at that. If anybody else has anything to bring up for the BZA.
Mr. Chairman, I have one question. Mark, my understanding was that, I just have a procedural question. At one time, I think that we understood that if the commission wanted to make changes, it would be booted back to us. But is the understanding now is that they would just make those changes? Can you clarify what the procedure is at this point?
Unknown, really, at this point, Lisa. I mean, that's certainly an option that the commissioners could do. They could certainly send those changes back to the board for your thoughts and consideration, or they can choose to not do that and just adopt it as they want right now. Been no formal discussion by them of referring the document back to the Planning Commission. At this
But
point.
it is possible for them just to make changes. I guess that was my question. That's
Most certainly,
Yeah,
certainly
okay.
they can refer the document back and get this board's input on those suggested changes. Yeah.
Was it members of the public that brought forward this, the questions and the suggested changes or amendments?
I do not know. I don't know that answer. I don't know where those came from.
Mark, if for this time of public comment, is there a location set aside for that?
It's going to be at the courthouse where they're going to do that
Oh,
next Tuesday. Yeah, it'll be part of their regular agenda session at the end of the meeting, I believe, is where it's at.
But that room is so small, I wondered if they were going to move it somewhere else in the courthouse.
Not to my knowledge, not at this point, they're not.
Thank you.
So they appreciated our work. They just didn't appreciate our work product.
Yeah.
I guess so. Well, they're in discussions. I mean, they're looking at different things right now. So yeah, it's hard to judge what they're going to do right now.
Do you think they will take some action, or they will hear this hearing next Tuesday?
Don't know. Your guess is as good as mine right now. I don't know
It's
what
going to be open discussion. Is that correct?
It'll be an open discussion, most definitely. It'll be an open discussion, but unknown if they're ready to make a recommendation or decision, if you will, Tuesday
They
or
may or
not.
may not
They may or may not.
make a decision, but they will entertain some discussion.
And it will be live streamed, so we could watch it if we're not in attendance.
Yeah, all the discussions have been, recorded, so you can go back and listen to the discussions if you if you want. There was an afternoon discussion that we had just recently with them. And then, like I say, next Tuesday's meeting is going to be live streamed as well. So you'll have an opportunity to watch it live or watch the tape of it later.
Mark, I appreciate you giving us an update on that. Obviously a question in all of our minds.
Yeah, that's no problem. Like I said, I don't have all the answers. We'll just wait and see what they do. You know, staff is there to help answer their questions and try and advise them on what the planning commission's thought process was. So yeah.
Board, do you have any other business before this BZA? Seeing none, I just want to say thank you, Mark and Dawn, for representing us with the county. We appreciate your work doing that. I watched the video, and it was I can imagine sitting there. We've all sat through numerous hours of public hearings and those types of things, and can imagine you got another turn in the barrel that we did not. So I want to tell you how much we appreciate you doing that. We appreciate that.
No problem.
No other comments, no
Thank you.
other business. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. This meeting of the BZA
Thank you, board. We'll
is
see you next
adjourned.
month.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Goodbye.
Aye.
Gosh, I hate to shut this off. All right, we're going to shut it down unless you have anything else for me.